President Barack Obama had a big birthday bash. That's an enjoyable thing just because of the alliteration. But does it bring to the surface ideas of hypocrisy? Does it expose flaws in politics when so many former presidents and prime ministers go on to accumulate vast wealth? And how does it make you regard the ideals of politicians that purport to be on the left and care about social justice, equality, and other important defining issues of our time, when it seems like, in terms of actions, what they want to have is big birthday bashes and earn a bunch of money? Barack Obama is under fire over 60th birthday party during the coronavirus pandemic. I suppose in a way that a headline like that is leading, and people that are detractors of Barack Obama and for political party reasons don't like him can use it as to advance ideas of hypocrisy, which seem to be somewhat at play. The issue of coronavirus has become politically divisive, hasn't it? Like, it's generally speaking, the right, it seems, say, leave us alone, we don't want to wear masks, autonomy, freedom, and the left is like, hey, wear masks, and it's weird how it's all sort of fallen into place, and I don't claim to fully understand it. But what interests me here is, as a person that when Barack Obama was elected thought it was a fantastic thing and find him on a personal and charismatic level a really enjoyable public figure, it seems to me that the affluence of the Obama's post-presidency and other politicians, the Clintons, Blair, and other British politicians that we'll go into, it suggests that the reality of politics and the financial life of politicians is so extreme and fruitful that anything they say about we care about this, we care about that, can sort of be dismissed because of the power and prevalence of this wealth. Let's go back to that party though. Hollywood actors and American musicians gathered on Martha's Vineyard to celebrate Barack Obama's 60th birthday at the weekend. The event on Saturday night was supposed to have been scaled back as coronavirus infections rose across America, but it was staged in a huge marquee outside the Obama's seaside mansion. 300 to 400 guests were reported to have attended. Now, I suppose the kind of things that this brings to the surface are the political and elite class out of touch with ordinary people? Is there a kind of sense that certain political figures and people of a particular persuasion will be saying you should be wearing masks, you've got to get the vaccine, you've got to do X, Y, Z, and meanwhile in their own lives they're not affected by it? This is a narrative that's played out many times before. Think of the sort of customary assumption that on the left people are like, hey, we should be pro-immigration because this is one world and everyone should be respected, but then they're not at all affected by the consequences of immigration on the lower rungs of the job market and the impact of immigration on jobs and keeping prices and wages low and that kind of thing. I'm talking about a very basic left v right narratives, not expressing an opinion in particular, although me, broadly speaking, I'm a hey, one love type of guy, aren't I? You know that about me by now. Bradley Cooper, George Clooney, Don Cheadle, Tom Hanks, Beyonce, Jay-Z, John Legend. They all sang happy birthday, hopefully, while washing their hands. Happy birthday to you. Should we do it again? Happy birthday to you. Me, sometimes, I'm affected by glamour. I think, oh, wow, wouldn't that be amazing? And would you think if you were invited, you would have enough about you to go, I ain't going to that. It's disgusting. And or would you think, oh, my God, there's a helicopter. I can see Bruce Springsteen. In The Independent, Stephen Lyons wrote, liberals, and I count myself among them. And I suppose this is where this is interesting. How should people that identify as liberal or on the left be affected by what seems like mammoth hypocrisy and a kind of lack of real ideals and integrity among the icons of that political persuasion? That's always what the right are able to say, is you're hypocrites, you ain't no different, all you care about is how much money you get and looking after yourself and the people that you love. You can say all this stuff about this will be kind and this will be nice to immigrants, but when it comes to the crunch, there's your birthday bash. So, why don't you just say what we say? Everyone out for themselves, make as much money as you can. You might as well, because that's what you're doing. And I suppose that's the challenge. So he says, liberals have elevated the Obama presidency to religious levels. The Obamas are a brand, and according to the International Business Times, their net worth is currently around $70 million. Other publications place that figure much higher. CNN Money stated that the Obamas entered the White House in 2008 with a net worth of 1.3 million. I think that's, I suppose, what's troubling, the idea that positions of political office come along with incredible financial opportunity because given the type of system we live within, that would seem to be more significant, important, and a bigger influence than the opportunity to, for example, make political change. And when you look back at the kind of changes that take place under various different administrations, it doesn't really significantly vary, not enough to warrant all the fanfare about how great this one is or how awful that one is and how fantastic. Really, it's just a money machine. That's what it looks like. And that's not something that's unique to American politics. A report in 2012 estimated that Tony Blair earned up to 80 million since leaving office. Tony Blair Associates has deals with the governments of Kuwait and Kazakhstan. I mean, that's not a good look, is it? He's also a paid advisor to US investment bank JP Morgan and to Zurich International. I reckon we ought hold, and if we don't hold politicians to a higher standard than ordinary people, then there is no sense of elevation. Perhaps there is no deserved sense of elevation. Yannick Varoufakis said that we should have kind of people's assembly that are drawn through lotteries. Now, people are very quick to dismiss alternative systems of government, but wouldn't it be preferable to have ordinary people in positions of power temporarily with limited opportunity to profit from being in that position so that their priorities were social priorities, governmental priorities, civil priorities, rather than personal priorities? Do you really think it's an inadvertent side effect of political office that you become incredibly rich, or the main reason of pursuing it? Look at the kind of people that can even afford to get into those kind of positions. Look at the schools they went to, the universities they went to. Look at how deeply entrenched this kind of, I would have to call it, corruption is, or at least these set of biases are. Blair has also claimed more than $1 million in public funds since he stepped down as Prime Minister. All former Prime Ministers are entitled to an allowance of up to £115,000 a year to cover the costs of their ongoing public engagements. Would you like a vote on that? Would you like a vote on that? Hey, should we cancel that? Yeah, cancel it. Wouldn't you just vote like that to change that? Never voting on it, are you? And and again, it shows the ineptitude and impotence of democracy that you can never vote on something like that. You're never going to get the opportunity to say, I don't believe that anyone who rises to the office of president should be able to profit from it. The whole system of government should be about the benefit of the people that it governs, not about the people that govern. They're already doing all right. David Cameron earned about $10 million from finance firm Greensill Capital before the company's collapse, according to documents leaked to the BBC. The former Conservative leader has been at the centre of Britain's biggest lobbying scandal in a generation. After it emerged, he pressed senior ministers and officials to include Greensill Capital in a coronavirus lending scheme. A cross-party group of MPs found that he had demonstrated a significant lack of judgment. Cameron told friends that he stood to make $60 million from the listing of a company. It sort of makes you wonder how lobbying actually works, that David Cameron, a former Prime Minister, would go back to his former colleagues in the Conservative Party and go, Greensill's good, aren't they? Greensill. The whole idea of lobbying, the way that suggests that politics will be organised, the way that power and resources will be distributed, it's so detached from the reality of most people. And I think that's what the Barack Obama party epitomises, that unless you are a sort of someone that's so entrenched in the paraphernalia and beliefs of the Democrat Party, you'd have to go, oh, that's disappointing. Barack Obama, for a minute, seemed like an exciting political proposition. But in actual fact, the systems that he entered into are so entrenched and the evident rewards of the presidency so vivid, rich and radical that we can't realistically say that the Obamas are anything other than career politicians and opportunists. And that's the kind of people that will be attracted to this kind of system. And if we really want the world to change significantly, and by that I mean for you and me to have real control in our lives, to set up cultures and communities how we want to, without people bugging us and telling us what to do, what you can do, what you can't do, under the assumption that we're not hurting other people, then you're going to have to intervene radically with the systems that are currently in place. So while it's sort of, in a sense, a sort of a daft puff piece about, oh, George Clooney was there, these are all just ordinary sort of famous rich folk going to a party. Who cares? They wear masks, they don't wear masks. Pfft, what are you doing when you're in your house? No big deal. But what it is a sort of a window into the ineptitude of systems that we are encouraged passionately to believe in. The fanfare, bombast and hyperbole that dominates the airwaves when talking about the apparent differences between the two parties that compete for power in most political systems are in a sense, just an ongoing circus. And if you really care about politics, you should be thinking about alternatives and setting them up collectively, locally, in your own life, and disengaging from that madness, because it doesn't mean anything unless you are one of the people that's going to personally benefit from it. If you enjoyed this, why don't you comment below? Tell us what you think and what you feel. Talk about how red-pilled I am or blue-pilled. I take pills of every variety, baby. Also, you can subscribe to this channel, and if you need to unwind and chill from... Well, no, before I tell you that, I'll tell you should listen to my podcast, Under the Skin, on Luminary. It's available from Apple, and you can get Above the Noise there as well, a meditation podcast that I do every week. If you want a free meditation right now, have a look at this video on my side channel, Awakening. I'd love you to subscribe for that as well. And if you like this kind of content about corruption and that, watch this video. You'll love it. In any event, subscribe, turn on the notifications, stay with me. Thank you.